Does your child hide behind you in social situations? Do they get anxious about school? Well, pediatric psychiatrist Dr. Monique Jericho is here to help us understand the difference between when a child who's shy and one who is suffering from social anxiety disorder. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi.
So why don't we start with these definitions? What is it when a child is just shy? What does that look like?
So shyness is a personality trait. In other words, it's something that most people believe they're actually born with.
Okay.
So if you think about personalities on a spectrum, there's some people who are going to be very comfortable in social settings, no difficulty whatsoever, no sense of fear or anxiety. People on the other end of the spectrum are the shy people. They're socially reticent. They don't necessarily want to approach social situations because they feel uncomfortable in those settings.
Right.
That's a very different thing, though, from social anxiety disorder.
So let's outline that difference. So how is that different from
Yeah.
actually suffering from social anxiety disorder?
Okay. So thinking about shyness, only about 12% of people who self-identify as shy would meet the criteria for social anxiety disorder.
Oh, only 12%?
That's it. So
Okay.
a very small percentage, right?
Okay.
And along those lines, what we know is that most people who go on to develop social anxiety in their life typically have had symptoms or signs in childhood or adolescence.
Oh, okay. So this starts early.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does a child look like then that is suffering from social anxiety disorder?
So social anxiety has to do with a young person who has extreme distress in situations where they feel they might be observed, scrutinized, or judged by their peers.
Okay.
So this could look like, you know, a kid who feels highly anxious walking down the hallway at school.
Oh, just walking down the hallway.
Correct. Or who could have significant difficulties raising their hand in class to ask a question.
Okay, all right.
And so this can spiral, as you can imagine, into being a huge difficulty in terms of their social life, in terms of their academic life, going to school, etc.
Okay.
So it's extreme distress.
Extreme. I think that's the key word, isn't it? Okay.
Even to the degree that they could experience things like panic attacks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then if you're a parent and you're wondering about your child, what can you do? So do we start with what can you do with a child who is shy then?
Well, we can start with that. I mean, temperamental shyness or personality style is not something that you necessarily need to work at changing.
Okay.
Unless it's creating problems for that young person.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So gentle introduction to social situations and observation of your child. Always discussion with your child is a good thing. But certainly not forcing that child into situations that are going to increase their anxiety or distress to a point where they cannot handle it.
Okay, wonderful. Now, what if the child has social anxiety disorder then? What can parents do?
Okay, so a few different things. So I like to think about maybe some do's and don'ts.
Sure.
Right? So don't make a big deal of it at every turn. So if somebody's already socially anxious, the worst thing you can do is continuously point it out. Right? And some people will choose to use humor to try and diffuse some of the tension, but that doesn't work, right? So making a big deal of it is not helpful. However, ignoring it is definitely not something you should do either. So don't ignore, normalize, or minimize if your child is experiencing extreme distress.
Okay.
You know, as parents, we like to say, you know, or it's easy to say, oh, they're just shy. They'll grow out of it.
Right.
Maybe the case, or maybe there's a significant problem that they need help with.
Right. In which case you might want to talk to a mental health professional.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. We're out of time, but thank you so much, Monique. That was great, fantastic information, as always.